Welcome to Global Lens, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you are new here, do not forget to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an update. I bet you didn't know the South China Sea has become a flashpoint, a region where the ambitions of powerful nations collide with the resolve of smaller states. Its turquoise waters, dotted with reefs and islands, are now the stage for a high-stakes contest that could shape the future of Asia and the world. Here, Chinese Coast Guard vessels aggressively confront Philippine ships, unleashing water cannons, blinding lasers, and even wielding bladed weapons in tense maritime standoffs. These encounters are not isolated incidents. They are part of a calculated campaign to assert dominance and intimidate. In June 2024, the world was shocked when a Filipino sailor lost a finger during a violent clash at sea. This was just one episode in a relentless series of dangerous encounters as China tightened its blockade of Philippine resupply missions at the contested Second Thomas Shoal. Each mission has become a test of nerves and endurance, with Filipino crews risking injury and even their lives to maintain their country's presence. For decades, China's so-called gray zone tactics, intimidation, harassment, and coercion that stopped just short of open warfare, seemed destined to force the Philippines out of its own waters. These tactics are designed to wear down resistance, making it appear futile to stand up to a much larger power. The world watched, often with a sense of resignation, expecting Manila to eventually concede to Beijing's relentless pressure. International observers, journalists, and diplomats chronicled each new incident, but few believed the Philippines could hold out for long. But in a surprising twist, the Philippines has flipped the script, not with overwhelming firepower, but with the power of information and transparency. Instead of retreating, Manila has chosen to shine a spotlight on every act of aggression, making sure the world cannot look away. By exposing China's bullying in real time, through press conferences, viral social media posts, and unfiltered footage, Manila has forced Beijing onto the defensive in the court of global opinion. The narrative is no longer controlled by the strongest navy, but by whoever can win hearts and minds. This bold new strategy has rallied international support, drawing in old allies and forging new partnerships. Joint patrols, military exercises, and diplomatic backing have given the Philippines a stronger hand than ever before. The South China Sea is no longer just a story of China's rise, it has become a testament to the resilience, ingenuity, and courage of a nation determined to defend its sovereignty against overwhelming odds. The Philippines is proving that conviction, transparency, and smart strategy can outmaneuver brute force. By documenting every incident and sharing it with the world, they are rewriting the rules of modern conflict. In this video, we'll explore how Manila's bold new approach is changing the rules and the odds in the South China Sea, offering lessons for small nations everywhere facing their own giants. The South China Sea is more than just a body of water. It is a vital artery of global commerce, connecting the economies of Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and beyond. Every day, thousands of ships navigate these waters, carrying goods that touch nearly every aspect of our daily lives, from electronics and clothing to food and fuel. Over $3 trillion in trade passes through the South China Sea each year, making it one of the busiest and most economically significant maritime corridors on the planet. The uninterrupted flow of commerce here is essential not only for regional prosperity, but for the stability of the global economy. But the riches of the South China Sea are not limited to shipping lanes. Beneath its surface lie vast reserves of oil and natural gas, as well as some of the world's richest fishing grounds. These resources are crucial for the Philippines, providing energy, food, and jobs that millions depend on for their future. Yet these opportunities are under threat. China's sweeping territorial claims, enforced by aggressive tactics at sea, have blocked Filipino fishermen from their traditional grounds and disrupted vital energy exploration. This ongoing pressure threatens not only livelihoods, but the Philippines' hopes for national development and self-sufficiency. For the Philippines, this is an existential fight, a struggle to protect its territory, its people, and its economic future from encroachment and intimidation. For China, the South China Sea represents more than resources. It's about projecting power, asserting dominance, and securing strategic control over a region critical to its ambitions. The conflict here is not just a regional dispute. It is a global test of international law, the rules-based order, and the principle of freedom of navigation. The world's major powers are drawn in, each with their own interests and concerns. The stakes could not be higher. The outcome of this struggle will shape Asia's balance of power, influence global trade, and set precedents for how nations resolve disputes for decades to come. As tensions rise and the world watches closely, the future of the South China Sea remains uncertain. Its fate will echo far beyond its shores. Facing overwhelming odds, the Philippines has turned to radical transparency as its weapon of choice. Since 2023, Manila has embedded journalists on its patrols, capturing China's aggression in real time and broadcasting it worldwide. This strategy shatters China's information control, providing undeniable evidence of its actions. Dramatic footage of rammings and water cannon attacks has stripped away Beijing's deniability. The result? China's reputation suffers, and international support for the Philippines grows. At home, Filipinos rally behind their government's stand. Globally, allies have clear proof to condemn China's actions. By turning every incident into a global news story, Manila has changed the game. In the 21st century, a camera can be as powerful as a cannon. The truth is now Manila's strongest defense. The Philippines' confidence is anchored by a revitalized alliance with the United States. The U.S. has made it clear, any attack on Philippine forces in the South China Sea will trigger mutual defense commitments. This isn't just talk. Joint military exercises have expanded, and U.S. access to Philippine bases has increased. American and Filipino forces now conduct joint patrols, sending a clear message to Beijing. The alliance deters escalation and reassures Manila that it's not alone. The U.S. sees the Philippines as a linchpin in its Indo-Pacific strategy. Together, they form a united front against Chinese coercion. This partnership is now a cornerstone of regional stability. In 2016, after years of mounting tensions and diplomatic standoffs, the Philippines achieved a historic legal victory at The Hague. This was not just a win for one nation, but a pivotal moment in the ongoing struggle for justice and order in the South China Sea. The International Tribunal's decision invalidated China's sweeping claims over vast stretches of the South China Sea, which Beijing had long asserted through its controversial Nine-Dash Line. This ruling was a direct challenge to China's attempts to dominate the region and rewrite maritime boundaries. The tribunal found that China's Nine-Dash Line had no legal foundation under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. It was a clear message: historical claims cannot override international law. The ruling affirmed the Philippines' sovereign rights to its exclusive economic zone, including vital fishing grounds and energy resources. Yet, China flatly rejected the verdict, refusing to recognize the court's authority or findings. China's defiance only underscored its willingness to disregard global norms and the rule of law, raising concerns among neighboring countries and the international community. For Manila, the verdict became a powerful diplomatic tool, strengthening its position in negotiations and giving voice to smaller nations facing similar challenges. The dispute was transformed from a bilateral standoff into a global issue, a fight for a rules-based international order where might does not make right. The ruling provided the Philippines and its allies with a clear legal basis to rally international support, encouraging other nations to stand up for the principles of freedom of navigation and respect for international law. While the tribunal's decision cannot be enforced by force, its moral and legal authority is immense. It has left China increasingly isolated on the world stage, as more countries recognize the importance of upholding international rules. The ruling frames China as a violator of international law, putting pressure on Beijing to reconsider its actions and opening the door for continued diplomatic efforts. Today, the arbitral ruling remains the bedrock of Manila's diplomatic campaigns, shaping its foreign policy and guiding its engagement with the world. In the long run, the power of legal and moral authority can outweigh brute force, inspiring hope for a future where disputes are settled by dialogue and law, not intimidation. The world stands with the Philippines, united in the belief that justice, not power, should shape the destiny of nations. The Philippines' stand has attracted a growing coalition of international supporters. Japan has provided new patrol vessels and training, while Australia has deepened security ties and launched joint patrols. European powers, including the UK, France, and Germany, have sent naval ships to assert freedom of navigation. The European Union and others have condemned China's actions and voiced solidarity with Manila. This network of partnerships complicates China's strategy and raises the cost of aggression. Manila's transparency and legal approach make it easier for democracies to rally behind it. The world is sending a message: the rules-based order must be defended. China now faces a united front, not an isolated opponent. Manila's transparency strategy is inspiring its Southeast Asian neighbors. Countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia are beginning to adopt similar tactics, exposing Chinese incursions to the world. Indonesia's recent public release of footage confronting a Chinese vessel marks a shift toward open resistance. China's strategy relies on isolating its targets, but a unified vocal regional bloc would raise the diplomatic cost of its actions. The Philippine model offers smaller states a way to push back without military escalation. By internationalizing the dispute, they can mobilize global support. The Philippines is lighting a path for others to defend their sovereignty. Its courage is sparking a regional awakening. China's military might in the South China Sea is undeniable. Artificial islands, runways, missile systems, and the world's largest coast guard. These outposts project power and intimidate smaller neighbors, but they're built on a foundation of illegality, as confirmed by the 2016 arbitral ruling. China's fortresses are symbols of defiance, not legitimacy. In a major conflict, these fixed bases would be vulnerable targets. Their main purpose is intimidation, not sustained warfare against major powers. China's advantage is real, but conditional. The Philippines' alliances and legal victories raise the stakes for Beijing. The more China relies on force, the more isolated it becomes. Manila's strategy exposes the limits of China's power. The South China Sea struggle is no longer just about ships and weapons. The Philippines has shifted the fight to law, transparency, and alliances, where China's advantages fade. Every act of aggression now comes at a higher diplomatic and reputational cost for Beijing. Manila's approach has trapped China between escalation and humiliation. The Philippines proves that smaller nations can stand up to superpowers with smart strategy and moral courage. This is a battle for the future of the global order. Will might make right, or will law prevail? The Philippines, backed by the world, is fighting for a just and stable future. Its stand is a beacon for all who value international law. In this fight, victory is not just possible, it's essential.